Uko kuno abo bano mamu wanna get it nice.
Right, 24 August 2021, and I'm joined by Dr. Feddious Mutenheri. How are you, Doc?
I'm very well, Gambakwe. How are you? And I want
fantastic.
to greet your viewers this evening. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. And today was a very eventful day. What do you say about the events of today?
Okay, thank you, Gambakwe. Definitely today, quite an eventful day, hive of activity. And I think it really, I would want to say it really marks some turning point of some sort in the way probably we can expect to see our politics being done in the region. Because what the new Zambian president HH has done, I think is something unprecedented in here in Southern Africa, that he invites opposition and alongside incumbents, and I think that is a new thing which I hope will signal to those who are incumbent that within the region, leaders are coming up who will embrace, you know, all views, so to speak. So I think a great day. We are charting a new history, I think.
Okay, that's very good. And I want us to do this session very, very quickly. So let us go straight into the discussion. There has been a lot of fighting in the MDC alliance among the president, Nelson Chamisa, and his people and supporters over the past months. I've deliberately been highlighting the fights, but without identifying particular people. But today I want to focus on what happened this week, the big disagreements between Petsai Ruhanya and the MDC Alliance Secretary General, Charlton Wende. Did you see that fight which happened this week?
By fight, you mean the Twitter exchanges? Yes, I saw them.
Right. I want to particularly give you the screenshot here where Petsai Ruhanya is accusing Charlton Wende of trying to muzzle him when he questioned Chamisa's strategy. Did you see this particular tweet and thread?
Well, I saw it, yes, like I've said. So I'm waiting to hear your question on it. And
okay, so the question is, Petsai Ruhanya is saying the MDC Alliance is not listening to people or supporters in the diaspora who are questioning three aspects of Chamisa's strategy: the rural strategy, clarity on the name, and I think the third one is on funding. Those three things. People are saying to Chamisa, change the way you are approaching these three aspects. Listen to the diaspora. And the response that they are getting is, for example, Obestole. Let's see what Obestole said. Obestole said, Petsai Ruhanya, you can't talk about what is happening in the MDC because you are not a member. You can see that tweet there.
Yes.
And Ruhanya is saying, everyone who is talking to you online, they love you. They want you to do well. And at the same time, the people that are close to Chamisa are saying, don't talk to us about that. Call us on our phones. Don't talk to us in public. And that is from a tweet by Wende. There's this long tweet here by Wende. I don't know if you see this. You saw this particular tweet.
I have read it here.
Wende is saying you can't criticize the MDC Alliance in public. You must tell us in private. So let's go to the beginning. Is Petsai Ruhanya justified in what he's saying, that the strategy of Chamisa is not right, it's not correct?
Well, Gambakwe, thank you very much. You always bring these issues which are quite exciting. And I think I will try and tackle this question the best way I can. I think these tweets that we see are just a minute, if you like, a narrative of what could be happening around. But I want to answer it basically attacking the question that we have here, which is which you said supporters of Chamisa question is strategy for 2023. I think before we even come to what Dr. Feddious Mutenheri is saying, we need to put Chamisa into a context, because we cannot criticize what we don't know. We cannot criticize something we have not analyzed as to its strength, and then we can come to its weaknesses. I would like basically first to quote Nelson Mandela, who would be Nelson Chamisa's namesake, at one point where he said he was talking about his worries that there is one thing that worries me, that is to be raised to a position of a semi-god. And then he goes on to say, because then you are no longer a human being. He said, all I wanted was to be known as Nelson Mandela, and a human being for that matter, with weaknesses, some of which are so fundamental, but that I am committed, and nevertheless I sometimes make mistakes, or I don't live up to expectations. What was he saying? I think I want to put this in Chamisa's context, that sometimes people have, especially the critics, have tried to portray him as a superhuman, who is not human after all. He is. Let me put Chamisa in context and then put him within the party that he leads, so that I can bring in all these criticisms to see whether they are placed right or they are misplaced. I've already highlighted that he's a human being just like us, one of the 16 to 17 million Zimbabweans that are yearning for change. And one thing that I would want actually to praise him for, Chamisa, is that he is one of those that has raised up his hand to be counted in this struggle, particularly the struggle for democracy, and it is a struggle. I want to compare him with those young men and women in 1896, the likes of Nehanda, the likes of Kaguvi, the likes of Lobengula, who in the 1896-1897 first Chimurenga, or the Umvukela, who raised up their hands and they faced a brutal British South Africa company, then led by Rhodes. Same applies. He is in the same role as the Robert Mugabes of this world, Dr. Joshua Nkomo in 1966, who sought to execute the second Chimurenga up till 1979, and then we gained our independence. Look, Chamisa has taken over from an icon like Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai in this struggle for democracy, and he took up a party on which there are so many expectations to deliver change, expectations to deliver a victory. Now, Chamisa, does he have any strengths? I want to say that, remember, I want you to give me time, Gambakwe, because I would want to put these criticisms in perspective. Firstly, let's analyze Chamisa from his early years. This is a young man who started his politics as a student, in student politics, polytechnic, and he rose within the ranks of the MDC. In fact, at his inception, he was the leader of the youth there. First track that Nelson Chamisa has been a very consistent leader. Why do I say he has been consistent? MDC has split several times. In 2005, it split. Nelson Chamisa remained with Morgan Tsvangirai. It was a difficult time when everybody expected, the MDC to be united. But we saw some big guns going away. He stood his ground. He was there. Fast forward, during was it around 2014 or after the 2013 election, when Tendai Biti and others who sought renewal of that party broke away from the MDC. Nelson Chamisa once again remained. He lost in a Congress in which, of course, there were suspicions that what could have happened when Douglas Monzora won. Nelson Chamisa did not run away from that defeat. He stayed the course. And that consistency, for me, it shows you something about him, so that when I put his criticism, I can then put them in their rightful perspective. Right. Thirdly, when Nelson Chamisa took over or took assumption of the leadership of the movement for democratic change, he sought to mobilize the party on a mantra of generational consensus, and I think he did that very well. We all know he's a very well-learned guy, very educated, a Christian as well. He has sought to bring in Christians around the MDC through that, and I think he has been quite a very likable person in that. Fourthly, Chamisa's performance at the 2018 election sort of inculcated confidence within MDC itself, especially after the death of its first leader. Remember, it is also a party that did not have a clear succession plan, but at that time, we saw a new leader coming, and MDC even garnered more votes than before, which shows you that Chamisa had a strength, whether one calls it populism or what have you. But for me, it shows that he brought in some new breath of life into that party. Right. Linked to Chamisa's popularity there, you would see that it brought in, it led to some people who you could regard as weak candidates in the MDC winning because they were riding on Chamisa's name. Right. And I think Chamisa has ushered in new blood within that MDC party and new ideas, as it were. We see the entrance of people like Mutenheri and other young people that have now become the core of the MDC. For me, it speaks to some of the strengths of Nelson Chamisa. Now, I come to the critics. There is a saying that goes like, the motive behind criticism often defines its validity, and those who care criticize when it is necessary, but those who envy criticize the moment they think that they have found a weak spot. There is no doubt people like Petsai Ruhanya have become opinion makers, opinion leaders, and he's quite an abrasive character. And I think, in as much as some of their criticisms can be justified, it is the way they are put across. There is a limit. I think there is social media is, I love it, but there is a way that people themselves can help to censor themselves and be able to use it responsibly. You do not want to then kill the spirit of the MDC voter by projecting a divided MDC, yet you are looking forward to it being an alternative. But by this, I don't mean that it should not be criticized. No, people like Petsai Ruhanya they should know better that we can break or make the MDC by what we say and where we say it. And I think bringing some of this criticism on the public and trying to foment, for me, it becomes more of fomenting whatever divisions might be there. Because I'm not saying MDC is totally divided, but totally united. But which party is united today? Show me one party that you can say it is united. Then I can also show you a lion that is vegetarian, probably. There is nothing like that. But we do not want the criticism to even foment more division if it was there, or to become like a dog eat dog kind of a situation. And the Ruhanyas will stand there and say, we told them so. No, it shouldn't be that way. Yes, they have access to the leaders of the MDC, and if they are realistic about building them, I think these are issues that they can bring in to the leadership. And I don't think it's right. We can say these are supporters of the MDC. If you like, people like Ruhanya, they are critics. He can be a sympathizer, but he's more of a critic. I don't think he's a card holder that we can call him a supporter of the MDC. So I think the supporters of the MDC, the loyal person that supports the MDC, what they can only do is or probably within the structures of the MDC, give such advice as to this is the way we can do, or bring about their thoughts as to how they think the party should go. But these are critics, and you must know that critics do this not only to develop or to build the MDC, but it is to build also their own profiles. They build their own profiles through this criticism, because how is it helpful that Ruhanya goes to Twitter and says and insults an MDC Secretary General that no matter how many ghost accounts you can put there, I don't care. This is like a street fight. So for me, I think we need to put it into perspective. Yes, critics can do their criticism, but if they are real supporters, they would know how to channel constructive criticism towards the MDC alliance so that it can be a better version of itself. I think so far that's how I can respond to these criticisms that are before us.
Okay, so let us go into three things that were raised by Ruhanya. I've got a lot of respect for Ruhanya because he has been one of the people that consistently supported Chamisa. And personally myself, I do not blindly support Chamisa. I used to support Chamisa before the elections. In fact, I made 200 videos before the elections in support of Chamisa's candidature. I even traveled to Masvingo on his first rally of the alliance. And I had a lot of hope in Chamisa when things started. But I can tell you, Chamisa does not listen. That is one thing that makes people angry. Let me give you the three things that Ruhanya is raising. Has been raised over and over again. Let's start with the party name. Clarity on the party name. Is Ruhanya wrong to demand that there should be movement on that issue? Why has Chamisa spent over a year and 8 months before addressing the issue of the party name?
Okay, once again, you are coming to the exact point I am talking about. It is Ruhanya's point of view. It is his opinion. It is not the alpha and omega of that debate that the MDC alliance should change its name to another name. Why does he think, the question is, why does he think the MDC alliance should change its name? Why does he think so?
Because you cannot go into an election that you were told by Monzora that Monzora is going to contest as MDC alliance. Then you sit there. He has been told by everybody who is in the public light that he must change that name so that he does not clash with Monzora, who is going to have that name through the court process.
You see, that's where they all get it wrong. It is because people want to follow the Monzora script. That Monzora script is that it is our name. It is not true, and I beg to differ on that very much so, because the MDC, we have seen historically that we have had so many MDCs on the ballot paper, and people have never been confused. ZANU PF, we have ZANU Ndonga, that has always been there. It is only something that they can twitch the suffix of that name. It is not a debate that people should be going through. Where he is wrong, I think, is that he is failing to address the real policy issues and go to the narrative that ZANU PF and Monzora would want to hear. That is to have a dog's breakfast for a name. Who cares about the name? I've always told you that the 2000 election is a sign to us that the issue of the name is not an issue at all. Once there was debate between Welshman Ncube and Morgan Trangira as to who is real MDC, they called it MDCT, and they went on to win the election. So, with all due respect to Ruhanya's opinion on that, I think he should not push it further to think that therefore he said it, therefore it should be done. Why doesn't he wait to see what the MDC alliance is up to? And I think they have got a strategy around that issue. So that issue should be buried until we get to the election time.
Okay, but that is what I mean. 1 year and 8 months, if you go on the timeline of Opo Chingono, you will see the same topic. Change your name. Jonathan Moyo, a close supporter of Chamisa, change your name. He doesn't listen to that. The whole lot of MDC supporters, they want that issue addressed. And he doesn't listen, he doesn't respond until at the very last minute, they are going to rush to court. This is what people like Ruhanya are trying to address. Don't rush to court on the last minute. When you now try to submit your electoral papers to ZEC, and ZEC says, no, you can't use that name. And then, okay, because they always rush to court, you will see, as the elections come closer, you will see them rushing to court, and yet they've been warned.
Listen, Gambakwe, I think we need to pass this issue. Like I've already said, you already make a claim that many MDC, this is a general statement to say many MDC supporters want the name changed. I don't think so. Who has made that research? In fact, as far as I know, the MDC itself has made consultations, and probably it's in the process to check whether they will need to change. But MDC supporters, I think they really know that what they are supporting is what is called the MDC Alliance, MDC Zimbabwe. And that is it. And I'm telling you today that it will not need even a court judgment for them to put a name on the ballot paper with which the people out there will identify and say who is the party, who is our leader that we are going to vote for. Yes, I've already said, with due respect to Ruhanya and probably to this journalist, but man, it's not like their ideas are the ones that should be followed here. Who said Jonathan Moyo's ideas then should be taken by the MDC? It shouldn't be. Can we wait and give them a chance? And let's not force them into a script that others are writing from outside. And if they really want the MDC to change its name, let them not go to Twitter. Let them go and approach the party and let them tell them the pros and the cons of having that change name. Probably produce research that they have their own. They are researchers in their various fields. One a journalist, one a PhD holder, and therefore they should do research and show the MDC and give them an opportunity to make that decision. But to bring it as a pedestrian debate on Twitter, I don't think it is just media sensationalism that we see. And I'm sure this issue of the name is fixed. The MDC Alliance is there, it is alive, and people who support it are out there. And I think for me, That is the issue here.
Okay, let's go to the rural strategy.
Yeah.
The MDC alliance has totally failed to capture Mashonaland East, Mashonaland West, Manicaland, Midlands, Matabeleland South, Masvingo, all these places. They failed to capture them during elections. And this is where they are losing more than 50% of the voters in Zimbabwe in the rural areas. Is Ruhanya wrong to say, work on your rural strategy?
Well, that is an issue which I think even those who are pushing the MDC to say, work on a rural strategy, work on this and work on that, it is an issue that they know. No wonder why they have not even give out a particular strategy that they think themselves the MDC should take. Let's just look at this issue briefly. We are all aware, as you have said, that the rural space has been monopolized by ZANU-PF, and it has been monopolized in a way that there have been no-go areas there. In fact, at some point, especially in 2008, and particularly when we were going towards the runoff, we know of bases that were created there. We know how war veterans were used at that time. I mean, the gory stories that are in the public domain of the short sleeves and the long sleeves, where people were chopped, and the torturing reports that were heard, and we know very well what that means. We know very well what minefields lay within the rural space for the MDC, and I wouldn't want us to forget that when we look at the rural strategy. Secondly, the rural areas per se are not, if I should say, are not necessarily a stronghold for ZANU-PF, as you would want people to believe. And I think the issue probably that we should hammer on is that issue of providing polling agents in those areas, so that that vote in that area is verified. Are we getting returns of the real vote from the rural area? So probably it is one area we can just emphasize. But then I think it goes back to the issue of funding of the MDC. You must understand that it is again a difficult area, considering that funding of political parties is a constitutional issue. It is regulated by law, and recently we have seen how the MDC funds have been diverted, which are supposed to be their own funds by their on account of how they fared at the election. But these funds have been given to Douglas Monzora. Where do we expect the MDC to get those funds? Probably that is one area for those who claim to support the MDC to fund it. The liberation struggle of Zimbabwe was executed not by the fact that ZANU-PF had money itself. It didn't. It was the Chinese people. It was the Russian people. But above all, it was the generality of Zimbabweans who provided chicken, who provided goats, who provided their livestock to feed these people. It is the generality of Zimbabwean who provided the morale, to an extent even of providing them with little girls who were abused in order to please my comrade. So it is an issue that we know. Today, MDC depends on the funds that they are supposed to have gotten, because they have got a huge share from the financing that should come from the finance of political parties, but they do not have that money. So already the level field in terms of funding is not fair, how do they therefore carry out their rural strategy? It needs people to be there, people who are supposed to be transported, who are supposed to carry out programs that are supposed to be funded. So criticism is easy. It is easy to criticize. And I know here, as some of our listeners are listening, when for them, I think Dr. Alex Magaisa actually makes a very important point that for some people, criticism is only talking about the bad that the MDC does. That's for them what objectivity is. No, it is not.
Okay, Doc,
It
I
is
want to
about
catch you there.
providing.
I think
Yes.
I've given you time to expound on that point.
Yes.
Let's go to the point you're making on financing.
Yes.
ZANU-PF has set up a committee of 12. That includes some of the biggest business people in Zimbabwe. And their intention is to raise, I think, $200 million. That is a serious party. They are serious about raising funds. The Political Finance Act funds, I think it's like $6 million. So ZANU-PF is not living on that funds that they're getting from Political Finance Act. Who in the MDC is in the fundraising committee as we speak? Have you ever heard of it?
Well, like I've always told you, I'm not in the structures of the MDC, and therefore I wouldn't know their fundraising activities that much.
You know why I don't know it?
Truly,
You know why I don't know it, Doc? You know why I don't know it? They
go ahead.
lack the ability to organize themselves, to communicate to their audience. So you are someone who likes the MDC. You are in the diaspora. 80% of the people in the diaspora who are political, they follow the MDC closely. But their communication department does not speak to the people. I know about ZANU-PF because ZANU-PF had a press conference in which they had Philip Chiangwa and a bunch of other business people who are in their fundraising committee. The MDC Alliance, they think by osmosis, people are just going to know what they're doing. You don't raise funds that way. And that is the problem that is happening. They complain about the 6 million, but in the diaspora, they could raise 100 million if they wanted. If Chamisa right now organizes himself properly and says, every person in the diaspora, give me $100, he'll get it. But he's not doing it. He's not done it. That is where people are questioning his strategy. And then alternatively, he could get this money from his sympathizers in the civic society, in the embassies. If you saw what Hopo Chingono said, he said Tendai Beauty should be put back in the foreign portfolio, the international portfolio, and then Watchman Ngube should be put in admin. Those are suggestions, and all those are not being taken.
Yeah, listen, there is one mistake that you are also doing of comparing the ZANU-PF fundraising activities to those of the MDC. Gambakwe, it's not a new thing for you to know that ZANU-PF, because of its control of everything state, the national purse, the national resources, and all the same, and the rich people in Zimbabwe, the majority of them, in which party do they belong? I mean, those who are known, we have heard of cartels, we have heard of, it is easy to just say we are raising money within ZANU-PF, and we know where it will come from. And yes, they will raise that. The MDC, yes, you are very right that it could garner money, try to do fundraising from the diaspora, but you must know that it is the party of the poor. It is the party of the general poor person out there in the rural area that you are talking about. It is the party that necessarily is funded by its people. That's how actually it has been surviving. And that is the kind of money that they have. And I think you have to understand that their strategies should not mirror those of ZANU-PF, which are purely corrupt activities. Most of them, we know that much of the money, everyone would know that ZANU-PF is raising this money out of the proceeds of some corrupt activities that are already known. MDC should not mirror that. It has to show itself to be honest. And
no, but I didn't say they must. Sorry, Doc. I didn't say they must raise it from corrupt activities. I said if Chamisa sets up a committee of 5, one person goes to South Africa, one person goes to Namibia, one person goes to UK, United States, and Australia, and he says, give me $100 to his supporters, he will get it. But he has not done it. Then he complains about the 6 million. So it's got no corruption in it. ZANU-PF is not being corrupt. They are going to their best.
Okay, no, Gambakwe, those, I think what you are saying, it is very correct to say that they could use some of those strategies that you are saying. It begs to be seen whether they haven't done that, they haven't tried that. But I think that is a good strategy that one could give to them and say, in terms of your funding, in terms of your financing, why don't you try such kind of strategies as you are suggesting, if they are viable? And I think the MDC listens, and these are the kind of suggestions that should be given to them. Not necessarily to say they don't listen, but probably to ask them what is restraining you from doing that if you are not doing it. What is stopping you from carrying out such activities? And I'm sure I can add my voice to say these are some of the things to listen to in terms of raising their funds.
Yeah, but that's when the people who raise these issues, they are told that they're ZANU-PF. So, for example, Ruhanya, he's being told you're not a member. I Shepherd Yuda was told he's not a member. I think a lot of other people, when they try to raise these issues, they're told they're not members. Or what ends up happening is some people just stop talking. Like Jonathan Moyo, I think you've seen that Jonathan Moyo is not talking much anymore. So what ends up happening is by the time you get to the election, the momentum is lost even among the people that are in the cities, because they can see all this confusion, they can see all this infighting. Is that not where, when you look at Zambia, for example, that is where the difference is? Is that not where the strategy needs to be worked for Chamisa?
No, but remember what I said at the beginning, that when you talk about what the Ruhanyas were saying on Twitter, and it was the issue that came up was not about them suggesting strategies of fundraising or of this and that. It had become now an issue of them getting involved in the politics of the party. For instance, I was reading some of the tweets in which Ruhanya was sort of pitting some officials of the MDC, that this one is fighting this one, they were trying to expel that one, and stuff like that. And
no, but
once
Doc,
he gets into that,
it's on the screen, Doc. I've put it on the screen for you. Ruhanya started on campaign plan, police plan, specific to the raw areas. And then he was insulted as a ZANU-PF supporter. This is what happened. And MDC Alliance guys, when you question them about anything, they resort to insulting you and say you are a ZANU-PF supporter. Even
no,
when
I think you are just putting, what you are doing here is you are just putting one tweet at a time. But what I'm saying is that it is a build-up. These people, you must know, who go on Twitter, like I've already told you, besides trying to contribute to the debate on how we can develop our country. They are people who have agendas of building their profiles. And wherever they have also been called out, they will try to run back to the public on social media and say, this is what we are doing. So you can never take it as an honest debate when they come to Twitter. That's why I'm saying, do not be fooled by these tweets in which the Rohingyas, are cleansing themselves when they have been insulted, because they are coming in the public. Hanzi, there is a tsumo which says, Hanzi, I've forgotten how it ends. That's what they are doing. That's the game they are doing, throwing everywhere in the public. I already said, if what Wende said, I think it was a mature tweet in which he said, yes, we take the criticism, but why don't you also try to bring constructive criticism to us? Call us. He gave a number. What more do you want? Why?
Okay, let's call him now. Let's call him now and see if he's available. Should we call him?
Yeah, try calling him.
Because you see, the problem is these guys are not available also. I have called Mutenheri numerous times. She's not available.
But today you must know that it's a busy day for them also. So most probably not available.
No, they're never available, all of them. If you call Welshman Mube, if you call Tendai Biti, all these guys that are there in the communications department, they are too busy. And that is why people end up coming on social media. So I just gave you an example now. Right now, we're talking about the key issue in the MDC. I expect the top 5 people from the MDC to be watching this, to understand their chances of winning in 2023. So which means Wende is watching as we speak. But if you call him to say, Wende, put your mouth where your bread is and answer these questions. Answer why you are not changing your name. And come on a platform and justify why you have kept the MDC Alliance name that you can't take to the elections. He's not going to come on a platform. You have never seen Chamisa addressing it. Mutenheri will not address it. She'll tell you that we'll come back to you. And it will be months and months. Raw strategy, they will not come. Funding, they will not come. And then when they lose in the elections, they're going to come up with an excuse of rigging.
Probably, Gampako, you have not also taken time away from the screen like this to contact them during, remember this is evening now, it's almost 10 p.m. Probably find some time during the day and engage them out, off air, and then discuss with them, because it is also about the perception, Gambakwe. How are you perceived as a media person? For instance, there are those who think, I think we see many comments that think probably you are trying to prop the other side against them. So when that perception exists, imagine on ZBC how the MDC Alliance is reported. Do you honestly think that they would want to go there because they know their words would be changed or they would be edited, and the kind of message they wanted to put across out there has been changed? So it's probably a perception
that's
in which
that's not for mature politicians. Doc, let me hold you there. A mature politician cannot get his words twisted. Let me ask you a simple question. In the United States, there is CNN and Fox News.
Yes.
They have specific editorial policies. But you never hear a Democrat or a Republican says, I'll never go to Fox News or I'll never go to CNN. They make their point on any platform available.
No.
Because
I think let's put that into the right perspective. Already when you talk about CNN, Fox News and others, they have, you are right that they have different editorial policies, but you know very well that if you are to get a Republican on CNN, it would be a probably moderate Republican. They will never come to CNN because they know that it's a liberal station. Same applies the Democrats. You will find probably the lesser officers who will attend there because those ones are very radical. They will change your story. They will make you look like a fool. And that is true. And you know very well that CNN is largely Democrat. Fox News is largely Republican. And that is what it is, because it's perception that if I go to this station, I am probably portrayed the way I am not, or my message is going to be twisted, and it doesn't. So I am actually telling, okay, I am also appealing to you to say, do that, and probably assure them that.
True. That's not true. I made 200 videos in support of Chamisa in the coming up to the 2018 elections. It doesn't mean then you only like me when I'm saying something good about you, and then when I'm trying to address your weaknesses in the lead up to the 2023 elections, so that we can make 400 videos for you. Because now I cannot support this kind of thing. Honestly speaking, how can I support a party that does not have a name?
Gambakwe, I would also want you to do this. Let me just put it to you that I would want you to bring in ZANU-PF officials here and probably question them on the serious issues of the day with the intensity that you do with the MDC. And let's see, once you do that, then you invite a goodwill from many people. But it's because probably you have never brought a serious ZANU-PF official on your channel and ask them about corruption and ask them about violence, giving them facts about the very bad things that are happening in the country, and put them into a corner. You have not done that. If you do that, I'm telling you today that somehow the perception that others, and I'm underlining the word the perception, because I don't want also to cast you in another thing, but this is how I'm also suggesting a strategies for you to be able to balance it up. Do that, and let's see if the MDC will not have goodwill to say, oh, if he can do this to ZANU-PF, we can also go there and see what kind of treatment we will get there.
Well, that's hiding behind the finger, Doc. That's hiding behind the finger. The question still remains, is that strategy for 2023 in place? You can blame Gambakwe all you like for his platform and what they do. But if you don't have your party name, if you don't have funding, and you've got all these people telling you to change your strategy, and you're quiet, when you lose, I don't think you should complain.
Well, they might tell you that probably we are just quiet on your channel, but we are talking out there. So, like I'm saying, Gambakwe, your channel here is a very important channel which people listen to, and like I'm saying, as we go towards election season, 22 months, create that platform in which that perception of fair treatment for both parties, and then make it competitive that way. That once you bring people of various parties, serious officials here, you question them. You know, ask your viewers, what questions do you want me to ask ZANU-PF, and come and put them in a corner. Show that you are serious about media equality, and that you are not sensationalizing and giving advantage to one party over the other. This is just my suggestion, just as you are suggesting that what should MDC do. And I think there is a lot that MDC can also be told. MDC can be advised to improve their strategy into 2018, and that I leave it to you as a media man to find ways to harness that.
The good thing about being media is if you are in between, you benefit from both sides. I don't want to align myself with any political party, especially the MDC, which I gave so much of my support to. And that's why you see a lot of people, especially in the diaspora, they supported and brought up, especially the Chamisa candidates, at a great personal cost to themselves. And I want to give you an example. Myself, I had a channel that had over 50,000 followers, and it was brought down at a great financial cost to myself. There are many people who have got stories, similar stories, and the MDC continues to disappoint. That's why I'm saying, if you look at all these people that are coming out, they are speaking out because they want the MDC to do well. And yet, the party is not there yet. They are at a point where they are hearing, but their response is the same. In this past week, Job Scala, Welshman Mube, Bestole, I think Ostalos, all these people, anyone who said anything, they're ZANU-PF.
No, Gambakwe, listen to this. You know, you raise, I also don't want you to feel that those people are victims. You guys also put yourselves into a snare. For instance, let me give you examples. There is a story that was awash on social media, on Twitter, and even on your channel, that Welshman Ncube has dumped Chamisa. That is sensational.
But it's true.
That is sensational.
It's true. I can give you.
Excuse
I'll bring
me.
someone here.
Wait.
No. I don't want you to continue because.
Wait. Just wait there. You peddled it, and that it's still there on YouTube. They look at it to say, really, Welshman Ncube has dumped. Welshman Ncube, was it yesterday or some 2 days back? He came out and said, my president is Nelson Chamisa, and I'm going nowhere. And he clearly said that this is the work of the enemies, according to his words. I can't say verbatim what he said. But look here, isn't that an indictment on the media?
No,
like
but you haven't given me a chance to respond to you. Let me respond.
No, because I'm still talking. Just wait a minute. I am saying such kind of stories which seek to portray MDC as a dying party or as a divided party would not help. And that is why some media outlets then get a very cold shoulder from the MDC, because you are already thought to be in the bag of the other party. And therefore,
no, but let me address that issue of Welshman Ncube.
Yes.
Welshman Ncube is not being honest. I have the people that were expelled from Welshman Ncube's party. They can come here. They were expelled from Welshman Ncube's MDCT, not MDC Alliance. Welshman Ncube, he was convinced to change his position, but the people that were disciplined, they were not disciplined by MDC Alliance, they were disciplined by MDCT. Does that make sense to you that a person who is in MDC Alliance is disciplined by MDCT?
Are you saying MDCN or MDCT?
MDC, no, not MDCT, MDCN.
Okay.
The green, MDC green.
Yeah.
Disciplined 4 people and expelled them. And
yes,
when you raise such a thing, it's not being a ZANU-PF person, it's odd for that to happen.
Do you understand what you are doing right now? You are also making assumptions that he was convinced to say, well, listen, Gambakwe, Professor Welshman Ncube is a very respected a lawyer, and I don't think it's a fair analysis on him to just say, probably some people then walked into his house and convinced him to say, hey, don't say that. And what you are trying to say is that that man is a puppet of somebody. He clearly said it on his Twitter handle. And why do you take Ruhanya for his word and not take Professor Welshman Ncube for his word? Why would you think that Professor Ncube was convinced by someone to just change his position and not tell me today that Ruhanya was sent by ZANU-PF to post that? So let's not have double. Let's not have double standards. Let's not have double standards when we analyze these things. Let's face what is there, what we have. And I am saying,
okay, I've got people who can challenge Ncube. Of the 4 people who were dismissed, I've got people who can come here and challenge Ncube on his position and why they were expelled by MDCN. If he wants, I can call him. I've got his number. We can do it.
No, not now. But listen, Gambakwe, I don't want you to push a narrative when it suits you, and then when it doesn't, then you say. Right now, we're talking about critics of the MDC, such as Ruhanya, such as Hopewell, who give ideas and stuff like that. And here you were saying they are refusing. Why are they refusing? But just now, I'm also showing you a tweet by Professor Walshman Ncube, which was refuting some of the media assertions, including yourself, which said he has dumped the MDC, a sensational topic, I mean, headline. And he came out to say, that is false. I am with the MDC alliance. And right now you are saying, no, what is written there is a lie. Why should other tweets be considered as the truth, the gospel truth, and Professor Walshman Ncube be considered as something that has been put in his mouth? What disrespect to a constitutional lawyer of note in our country, a seasoned politician like Professor Walshman Ncube. I think it's unfair. Let's be fair. So my point here is, Gambakwe, let's be fair, and you will see these officials come here to discuss issues with you.
No, I don't want them to come. You know why?
There you
if they come, it's for the entertainment value. Okay, let me explain to you. I'm giving them. Okay, Doc, let me explain. It's for the entertainment value. If Chamisa continues this way, he's going to lose. And it won't matter whether he comes here or not, or his people come here or not. In 2023, I'll be sitting here, God willing, and I'll be telling him that, remember what I told you in 2021, 2 years ago. And you're sitting there like a sitting duck while people are explaining to you how you can win. Do you understand how it is? It's you who is going to win. But if you want to lose...
Gambakwe, do you realize now that the cat is out of the bag? You have just become emotional right now. You have said few things. One, you have said, I don't want them to come here.
Yes, so I don't want.
Wait, listen, you have just gotten emotional. You don't have an emotional attachment to these things. And that's why I emphasize the objectivity of media. In media, then you have to be the calm heads. You have to be not to show, I mean, in public, like outrightly that you are totally against this party or the other. At least put some veneer of objectivity, and then they will come. And I can also assure you that if they were to come here, I think it will lift your views, it will lift your likes, because people would want to come and hear them. But now if you go into that mode where you say, I don't want them, I will tell them that they are lame ducks, you have now thrown your game out of the and there we are back to square one. So Gambakwe.
Okay, it's like this, Doc. Strategy is how you convince someone who doesn't like you to like you. If you're a shop, that's how you convince someone who's buying from TM to buy at OK. I am giving a platform for you to tell someone who's buying it OK to buy at TM. If you think you don't need that platform, tough luck. Right now, I've got 400 people here. Tomorrow, I've got 400 people. At the end of each month, at Gambakwe Media, we've got between 4 million and 8 million views. Let me tell you, I don't mind really. I don't lose sleep about a party that has got no strategy. To me, that is how it feels. When we question you, when your people question you, and you keep quiet, and you keep doing the same thing over and over, that has made you lose for 20 years. It's fine. You can continue doing that way.
I think to underline my contribution to that issue you are raising is that MDC Alliance is operating under very difficult and harsh environment in which the level, the playing field is not level. And one thing that I would not want you to do is that you add to it, like you are the media people. The MDC, I'm sure they are amenable to ideas and other strategies. But remember, they are also a party that is having to rebuild. They have been battered left, right, and center. Today is probably one of their good days because thanks to HH in Zambia, who has invited their president. But we know that the official opposition in Zimbabwe right now is MDC Monzora. That is the official opposition. They have not been invited to Zambia there. And but they are probed. They are in an environment where they operate freely and easily because they are supported by the ZANU-PF party. The MDC at all costs is suppressed, if you like, because every structure of the MDC has been attacked in the sense that they have tried to decimate it, to literally demolish whatever is left of it. And for them, I think there is a strategy, a conservative one, but do not underestimate the sympathy they have out there. And I hope the Zimbabweans in 2023 will show where they lie. Today, Zambia, under HH, is with a new government, but ask HH what kind of environment they operated. Ask them whether they did not also have those strategies, but which never saw the light of day. They tried everything. But there is a time where people say enough is enough. There is a time where even if people can say in 2023 you will never come to power, it becomes hollow cries of people who know that they are losing. Smith said it, in 1,000 years, no black person will rule. Few years down the line, there was black rule in Zimbabwe. Lungu was saying it, that in a few days I'll be handing over power to myself. Few months later, he was handing it over to his nemesis in the opposition. Few days ago, we saw even in Zimbabwe the spokespersons in Zimbabwe, the Nick Mangwanas, the Charambas, who were saying Jivatengesi, meaning HH. They were eating humble pie, having to seek diplomatic ties with the same person they were saying Mutengesi. So in politics, it's never written in black and white. Give it free, fair institutions, independent institutions. I am telling you today, probably MDC does not even need to speak about the funding we are talking about. It will never need to speak about whatever strategies are coming through tweets and directed tweets, but it will be about the people really punishing those who they need to punish and rewarding those need to be rewarded. So that is how I want to underline this discussion at this stage.
Right, Doc. I think you're right. We are past an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be dealing with the issue of Chamisa's trip to Zambia and its implications on Thursday.
Okay.
So let us bring this to an end today. And
all right,
tomorrow I'm going to be dealing with the issue of Chamisa and his mistrust for Hopo Chungono. So those are the two last discussions I'm going to have this week. Is there anything you want to say before we close?
I can't let it go what you just said. Look, to just again bring a point that some viewers always raise out here. They think you have an obsession with Chamisa. They think it's an obsession, and what they do not know is why this obsession. Already you have lined up two topics on Chamisa. Why are you not lining up a topic on Douglas Monzora? Why are you not lining up a some topics on Egypt, Zinemunendra, for instance. Why? It is because you, Gambakwe, you know very well who is the game in town, who is the real alternative in Zimbabwe today, who would be the game changer in Zimbabwe. So let's not aid and abet, the dismantling of this party. And I hope what you are doing is part of constructive criticism rather than being part of trying to probably bring down a project which a majority of people, I think, are looking forward. Are looking up to give a change, a fresh of breath air. 41 years with one government, it is not desirable. Even the president of Zimbabwe
said it's not me that you should worry about.
Yeah,
you should worry about the voters, and that's where we are talking about strategy. Strategy is about voters. It's not about Gambakwe and his media house. And this is where the MDC loses it. When Ruhanya tells them something, they focus on Ruhanya. They focus on Ngonzora. They are focusing. They are not looking at the ball, and that's why they lose. The biggest competitor to the MDC alliance is not Ngonzora. It's not Gambakwe. It's not Ruhanya. The biggest opponent to MDC alliance is ZANU-PF. So you have to do everything to beat ZANU-PF. That's where your strategy should be. At the moment, MDC alliance gets excited by useless things. Like if I invited to Zambia, that's nothing. After 2 weeks, everyone will have forgotten about that. And Hakainde Hichilema, he's going to have forgotten about Chamisa in a few months' time because he has a lot of things to deal with.
That is your opinion, and that it can be challenged. And I think events will show us as we go. We'll discuss it one day. And I think, yeah, quite a long discussion today. And I think you gave it your best shot. And like I always say in my parting words, I appreciate you, Gambakwe, and I appreciate that you question MDC to the point, probably if they are irritated, but I'm sure that in the end they will take it. In the end, they will take what is very constructive and what is useful, because a free society must have these debates, and these debates must be honest debates, and that's a Zimbabwe that we need. I heard Nelson Chamisa today on a Zambian national broadcaster, yet he has never been on a Zimbabwean national broadcaster to say any positive thing. So these are the things we need. So Gambakwe, I want to tell you that you are appreciated, and in the discourse of change in Zimbabwe, I think you make a very big contribution. It's not about you being liked. I think it's about the pertinent questions that you raise, and those pertinent questions are what build a society. I may seem like I'm not listening to you when you are criticizing me, but take my word, I will sleep over what you are saying, and where I need to change, I change. So I like your spirit that even when you also get attacked, you continue to be on Chamisa. But one day I want you to explain your obsession with Chamisa.
Okay, if I want to be liked, do you know how simple it is?
Yeah, I know.
If I want to be liked like tomorrow, right? I can be the most liked person in Zimbabwe right now, if I want it. But I'm not doing that.
But let me tell you, there is also a philosophy that bad publicity itself is publicity as well. So who knows, probably you are taking that kind of route. There are people who necessarily choose to do the bad things simply because they want the publicity and at some point change. So let's not view things in one parochial line. So you probably want to be liked. I know you want to be liked, but you have got a view that you have. But what I'm saying is that those questions you're asking, I think they still are important, and they make part of our society in which all voices have to be heard. And the underlying base should be tolerance of everything that that is said. Yes.
Okay, Doc, I really enjoyed talking to you today, and I think we should bring this to an end.
Definitely.
Let's talk again next week, and I hope that Chamisa, BT, Watchman Ngube, all these guys, Maheri, they've listened and they understood what they need to do to win the 2023 elections. Because I don't want to bring you here in 2023 and we have to ask you what went wrong. Because we told them in 2021.
Definitely, I think you bring me here, and I will be telling you that let's congratulate a new president with a smooth transition of power, hopefully at that time. And today is the 24th. By the way, tomorrow is the 25th, and it's my birthday. And it will remind me in 2023, when we have this discussion, that Gambakwe, look, there's been a change now. But I'm sure people will not look at you and throw you out of the window. They will really appreciate that you were part, and a key part for that matter, of shaping the whole path towards change because of your kind of journalism. So thank you, Gamba.
I'm not waiting for 2023. I'm making my plans now. Because I don't have hope in these guys. I do not think waiting for 2023 is a good idea. And I want to encourage everybody who is waiting for 2023 just to stop it.
What should they do?
They should do what they need to do now, because nothing is coming in 2023.
Well, once again, your opinion, it shall be judged by time.
Right, thank you very much, Doc.
Okay, Gambakwe, thank you very much.